Hey everybody, it's another day in the fish room. I think it's going to be a particularly enjoyable day for me because we are finally starting to escape and set up some of these new tanks. In the last episodes, we started adding the beneficial bacteria, so you can see this one in the corner here. It's a little foggy because it's getting a bacterial bloom. It's going through the cycling process. But we're going to start escaping some of these. Still waiting on some of the new 20 gallons just because Petco hasn't restocked them in weeks now. But we'll start with a few of these. I've got some substrates I want to add, and that will help start and add more beneficial bacteria. Now there are two substrates I'm going to be adding to some of these tanks here. The first one is, surprise, surprise, the Eco Complete. This is my absolute favorite substrate. I use it in almost every single tank in the fish room. It's really good at growing plants. I like it also because it comes in black. Most fish look good against the black substrate and then the black background that I do. But it also has beneficial bacteria when you're helping. It really helps set up a new aquarium. So there's water in these bags that help keep that beneficial bacteria alive, and you could add that right into a new tank. The second one is this Aquarium Co-op sand. I got this back maybe almost 2 years ago at this point when Aquarium Co-op still shipped the sand. And it's really nice sand. It's a coarser sand. You can see how coarse it is. Really good for growing plants. The roots move right through this with no problem. And it's going to look really good with the fish I have planned to get. I'm going to be adding this plant into the tank with the sand in it. This is Crypt Lucens, one of my favorite crypts. And you can see the way it came in the mail. It looks like it's heat sealed in the bag with only a little bit of moisture. Now, how are they able to get away with this? These plants are usually grown out of the water. So you can see when you're buying crypts, really all aquatic plants, but crypts especially, you're buying the root system because all these leaves here were grown out of the water. So as soon as you plant them in your tank, new leaves that look completely different are going to shoot out, and those are going to be the submerged growth. So these are the immersed growth. These guys have solid root structures, and when you are shipping a plant that's been grown out of the water, just a little bit of moisture is fine in the shipping bag. So these guys look great. It took 3 days to get to me, I believe from California. I got them on eBay from some random seller. But I'm going to plant it in here and just kind of let them convert. I want to do a whole fancy scape with this as soon as I get some spider wood or manzanita wood and different types of rock. I'm waiting on a huge order to come in for 2 months now just because of everything, the delays with COVID. It's been serious delays importing that stuff. But once I get access to all that stuff, I'm going to do a really nice scape. But in the meantime, these have to go in. I also got this crypt. It's Crypt Balanance. I'm probably butchering that. But I've liked this crypt. It's a taller crypt, so I think it'll do well in the Eco Complete. Roots look really good. This took a full week to get to me in the middle of winter. So surprised it's not completely melted back. You can see it's kind of wilted. But again, with crypts, you're buying the roots, so these will probably all melt back and hopefully grow back. I'm going to let these tanks cycle. These crypts are not in their permanent spot by any means. Ideally, they should be because you don't really want to move crypts around. But if we take a close look at them here, you could see kind of like this little withered piece here. The crypt is starting to absorb the leaves here that were grown out of the water, and slowly it'll start shooting out leaves that are supposed to be grown underwater. So I expect a lot of melting. You can kind of see the plants. They don't look terrific, but that's because we're taking leaves that were grown outside the water, dumping them in the water. So slowly we'll lose those, but we'll get new leaves. Same thing with this crypt over here. This one looks more rough because it spent a week in the mail instead of just a couple days, but the roots are solid. So over time, again, the same thing. These will wither away and we'll get new submerged grown leaves. It's been 6 months since we lost the male of the breeding pair of super red angelfish that I had. And finally, we got some eggs on the slate. So I held a bunch of the first spawn back and kept the ones with the most orange coverage, and The one on the left is one of the babies that grew up. This one on the right here is actually the original female. She looks really, really good. And looks like they laid a ton of eggs for their first time there together. So I'm not going to waste any time. I'm going to pull these eggs right away so I can finally get these guys finally in the fish room again. I know a lot of you guys have been asking about when I'll have them available, but you know, it'll be probably a couple months from now, but finally we have a pair again so I can start cranking them out again. Here's the algae mop of the rice fish that we pulled, the ones we got from Dan's Fish, the Matanensis. I'm sure I'm butchering that, but this has been here for about a week. And if we look at the surface, see we have some fry in here, which is surprising because they're still recovering from shipping. They weren't 100%. I'm not trying to breed these fish right now. I wanted them to recover, but I see the females carrying eggs every day, and it seems like they deposited in this algae mop here, and being that there are no bigger fish in here to eat them, got a good number. I've counted at least 10. And I've been feeding the ceramicron in here. You can see there's live baby brine in the water. I don't know if they're big enough to take that just yet, but there are other organisms in here. Some kind of crustaceans or I don't even know what they are exactly, but they're all over the side of the glass because I've been overfeeding the ceramicron, and that seems to be a food source for those little critters, and those critters serve as really good food for these guys right now before they could take the live baby brine. So here's a focus on some of those little guys I was talking about. I don't know what exactly there are. If you guys know, let me know in the comments. But that on the surface there is not live baby brine. Those are something else. And I'm really happy to see them in here because they're the perfect size for the fry. And they seem to be living in fresh water. So whatever they are, I'm glad to have them. I'm sure the ceramicron is their main food source, just because I know I've been feeding so much of it in here. So that, because this was a newly set up tank, didn't really have a lot of buildup or mulm or anything like that for the microorganisms to grow. Here are the adults, and if we look really close at the surface there, you can see right in the middle of the screen, there's actually a couple fry in with the adults. Somehow have not been eaten, which is pretty amazing. I guess they're not that much of their fry eaters. Maybe they can know that they're those fry, or maybe they're not interested in it because they're pretty well fed. These guys are doing well, but they're just not 100% yet. Some of them still have that cotton mouth kind of issue going on. You can see that they're obviously breeding and they're eating a lot, and they seem to be doing well. It's just, for whatever reason, I can't get that issue taken care of 100%. But cool to see fry in with the adults and not get eaten. I saw those guys yesterday, assuming that they'd get eaten. They're still here today, so I've been feeding the fry food in here too. And also the adults are eating live baby brine, so I think as soon as those guys get big enough, they'll start eating those as well. The panda guppies have exploded. I really enjoy watching this tank. It's a really simple tank. It's got just some dwarf sedge on the bottom with the aquarium co-op sand, one giant Amazon sword that's taken up this whole 20-gallon, pretty much, except for the front here. There's so many fish in here now that some of the newborn fry are actually surviving, as I think it's just too much for the adults, and they stopped going after some of the fry. But we still do the hang on breeder box method. These guys are a little overdue to swap them out with another female. So as soon as I see another female that's about to drop, looks like I might have missed them all because all the females are just thinned out, and I have been seeing fry in here. I don't think I've given an update on these guys since I got them. These are the black Corydoras. Got a group of 10 of them. They were pretty small. Now they're about 7-8 months old. They've grown really fast. They eat like pigs in here. They get bloodworms, brine shrimp, rapashi. They don't have any fish to compete with except for this 24 karat gold guppy female. This female grew up in a tank without males, and then I put her with one of my best males, so she's isolated here. I want to keep these fry separate, grow them out. But I think we're only a couple months away from getting these guys to breeding age, and then hopefully I can move them to a bigger tank and breed them. They don't seem to be having any trouble here in this 10-gallon. They're not shy at all. I could walk right up to them and even tap on the glass, and they're not skittish at all like some of my other Cories when I keep them on the bottom. These guys are on the top row. So it's nice for a bottom feeding fish that hangs out on the bottom, to kind of walk up and see them eye level. I feel like you observe more behavior that way. And these guys are always front and center for me. So I really enjoy them, even if they don't breed. I think they're super cool, but I'm confident we'll be able to breed these guys soon. The person I got them from was breeding them, so these guys are tank raised and tank bred. That was another day in the fish room. Hopefully in the next episode I can give you guys an update on the super red koi angelfish fry. I know a lot of you guys have been asking when I'll have them available again on the website. And I still get a ton of comments asking where I sell my fish. I don't know if I don't promote it enough or I don't mention it in the videos enough. But if you don't know, it's fishboyusa.com. If you're in the continental US, I will ship live fish. I have other stuff on there too, if you want to check that out. Thank you guys so much for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.